Welcome back, everybody, to Bad Film Good, the podcast where we look at poorly rated movies and we ask the question, is this bad film good? My name is Declan.
And I'm the bear.
We brought the bear back. You should have just gone, just without the, like, there's just no, I've just got a bear with me. Just sat with me in my room with my recording equipment.
Yeah, I'm just like chewing on the microphone.
I'm just like, welcome back. And then you take over.
Get out of here, bear.
Yeah. Merge.
Merge, a bear's eating me.
We'll get to Aiden's Simpsons impressions another day, I think. When they're ready for March.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be looking at Ghost Rider in, what year did this come out?
2005? No, 2007.
2007, yeah. All the good films kind of came around this point, I think.
Yeah.
All the good films that we're going to look at. Anyway. But yeah, before we get into the flaming hot film that we're going to watch,
because his head's on fire. He's he's in eternal pain.
Yeah. But before we get there, Aiden, tell us, what is Shrekking this week?
What is Shrekking?
Oh, yeah, we got to this week, skip it up.
This week, I thought we'd do something a little bit different, just take a break from all the news articles and
Shrek porn and tractors.
Yeah, yeah. Or both.
Shrek on a tractor, that's what I want to see. Farmer Shrek. There's going to be something about that, like farming Shrek.
Yeah. Maybe
like farming sim, but you're Shrek.
Yeah, let's look it up. No.
Yeah. Let's fund this.
Go fund me.
Yeah. Shrek farming simulator.
And all you farm is onions.
Oh, yeah. And you've got like a donkey.
Yeah.
But it's just a donkey.
Yeah, it's not the donkey.
No. You got like a Komodo dragon. Okay, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, okay.
Three pigs you blinded. Anyway.
God damn it. But yeah, this week I thought we'd do something a little bit different. So I went on to BuzzFeed and I thought we'd do a Shrek related quiz.
Oh.
So I'll read out the answers.
Oh no, I'm going to make myself look stupid.
And you tell me what to click. And this is to finally find out what percentage Shrek you are. So the first question is...
How much Shrek I am.
Yeah, percentage-wise, how much percent Shrek you are. There's literally one question and a bunch of answers. They've just not...
That's perfect.
They've not thought about this at all. You just click one thing and it tells you what percent Shrek you are.
There had to be something. There had to be like a twist.
So you check all of the following that apply to you, so you can click multiple ones.
Right.
So I'll read them off one by one, and you can say yes or no. So
right.
You have a thing for vests.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. You live in a swamp.
Yeah, currently, right now.
Sweet. You've become friends with a donkey and/or cat.
All of the above.
Amazing.
Can you double click that?
Yeah. Clicked it 3 times.
Yeah.
You can make candles out of your earwax.
Yeah. I did that yesterday.
Nice. You're like an onion. You have many layers.
Yeah, no, I often describe myself as being that. Yeah.
Yeah, you've done that to me a few times, actually.
Yeah.
Your parents kicked you out after your 7th birthday.
Didn't need to out me like that, but yeah.
That wasn't a question.
That wasn't a question. Ada's just he set this up so that he can just like ask me deep personal questions.
Yeah. When you were 5 and you had that teddy and I stole it. You've consumed a potion before to make yourself more attractive. Not that you needed it.
I was gonna make some sort of like smug joke, but now you just made it wholesome. So, but yeah,
you've gone into a tower to rescue someone. That was how we met.
Oh, yeah, that was how we met.
You tend to be
just you, but you're the wolf.
My hero. You're like, what the fuck? Okay. You tend to be kind of grumpy. I mean, anyone that's listened to this.
Yeah. Anyone that's had to watch the Emoji Movie.
Yeah. You've had to go back to high school to talk to a teen being... Sorry, wait, what?
What?
Oh, this is the third one. You've had to go back into high school to talk to a teen and convince them to be a king. You know, that's what he does.
Is that what he does in the third? Coincidentally, that was what I did the other week.
Oh, yeah, nice, cool.
Yeah.
You've been offered the chance to be royalty, but didn't want to be.
I am royalty, baby.
But
yes.
After
just take it.
Fucking what's his face? Prince Philip died.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, can you take his place? Can you be the Queen's husband?
God damn
it. Your hygiene could be better. I'll take that one for you.
We're not even in the same place and you can smell me.
You stink!
Again, just using this to call me out. That wasn't a question. You just stated your hygiene could be better.
I'm actually a BuzzFeed journalist in quotation marks.
Oh my god.
I've written this.
He's infiltrated the podcast. Anyway, carry on.
You'd rather be alone than deal with people.
Damn, you are outing me.
And you love the song All Star.
Well, I mean, isn't that like an auto tick?
Yeah, like who doesn't?
It's by default, there's no way to untick it.
Right, show me the results.
Show me the money. Show me the Shrek.
You're actually only 30% Shrek. No, I'm joking.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? They tricked you. No, it's you are literally Shrek. Dang.
Shit. You are literally shit.
You're shit. You piece of...
You're like you are literally shit.
Yeah, because I wrote this. I'm out of you fucking bastard.
You've agreed to confess that you live in a swamp.
You fucking piece of shit. You said your BO stinks.
Yeah.
Dang, you've gone full on swamp mode in life. You're a complex person who can have a little bit of a temper sometimes. At least one thing's true. You're an icon.
I was say asshole.
You're an asshole.
There's just a theme, going on with this question. So does that mean they have a different result for every single, how many questions were there in that?
14. There's 14 questions.
So then, they just have
a
different percentage for each. Let's just do a random one and then just see what it says.
Ticking a
and
bunch
then
of them.
Each one just says, you're 100% Shrek.
So I've ticked 4, 5. If you click 5 out of 14, you're still 64% Shrek.
What?
But it says you're not Shrek.
Oh, good to know.
What the fuck? That's stupid. Anyway, yeah, thanks BuzzFeed. We now know that D Shrek. Next week we'll decide which Shrek character we are based on the random cereals you pick. Fuck's sake. Thanks BuzzFeed.
Thanks BuzzFeed.
Anyway.
Fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was a lovely dumb quiz. But Shrekking aside for the week, Skabbity Bap Doobity Bap Doo.
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. That's what we're looking at this week. And I mean, where did we watch this? We watched this on Netflix.
Yes.
Which I think the second one is on there as well, which we could look at.
We'll do that at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. Can't give you all the juice all at once. Gotta
We've had enough of
them.
two-parters for now. We'll do it.
Yeah. Drip feed, not spoon feed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, but yeah, Netflix described this as after selling his soul to save a loved one, daredevil biker Johnny Blaze pays the price.
Johnny Blaze scats.
He scats his way to the top. He pays the price by becoming a flame-skulled bounty hunter for Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles I was fine with. Pays the price I was not.
He pick up a bear,
whatever. Pizza pepper bear.
And there's a bear.
There's a bear. I want to see like all of these intro things, but it's like after selling his soul to save a loved one, daredevil biker Johnny Bear, or pays the price by becoming a flame-skulled bear. It's just the motorcycle, and he sets on fire and becomes a bear. But give us some info about this film. How many bears are there in this film?
Unfortunately, there's only 3. No, sorry.
God damn.
So basically, young Nicolas Cage likes to ride motorbikes, but also he likes banging this one chick. So he attempts to run away with her, but in the evening before, he makes a deal with the devil to make his dad's cancer go away. However, then his dad dies anyway, and he instantly ages 30 years. And then he transforms into, of course, the title of the movie, Nicolas Cage.
He transforms into the title of the movie, just like a giant block of text in the road. But like grossly made of like human flesh and like clothes, like twitching.
Help me!
The demon guy, Mephistopheles, is there just like Ghost Rider.
This is worse than the bees. But anyway, yeah. So Nick Cage, he keeps on doing some crazy stunts on motorbikes, but then he sees that girl that he was with at the start of the movie, and then sexually assaults her by trying to kiss her. And for some reason that works. But then before they go out for a lovely dinner, Nick Cage gets visited by the devil and turns into a man with warm hands. Then he murders some evil demons and also a mugger. And then he meets Sam Elliott, who explains the premise of the film to him. Then he goes off, gets arrested on the basis that the police think he's killed some people that some different evil people kills. But then he escapes. Then he fights those same evil people, including the wind from The Happening.
Yes.
But then the villains steal his girl, so Nick Cage, he gets this contract thing that everyone wants or something, doesn't matter, not important. Then he goes to fight the bad blokes, and what he does is he just wins. They have a little fight, and then he's like, oh, actually, I'll win. Then he does win, then he bangs that woman from the start.
Yeah.
Classic love tale, this one.
Classic send-off.
Yeah. Made in 2007, directed by Mark Steven Johnson, starring Nick Cage, Sam Elliott, Steve Buscemi, Eva Mendes, and Donald Logue. Has a budget of 110 million, which is quite a lot.
Yeah.
And made just over 228 million.
Wow.
So that's not great.
I mean, was this the first, like, on-screen Ghost Rider? Is that what brought it in? Like kind of live-action kind of movie Ghost Rider, or?
I don't know. I guess.
I mean, I don't know whether this other stuff beforehand, but I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking about, like, it brought in loads of money, but I remember when I was really young, like, and impressionable.
Yeah,
like Theodore from
like
Theodore.
Yeah.
You know, I loved this film when I was younger.
Yeah, but then I guess you have to ask the question, like, because it was 2007. That was the same as the first Alvin and the Chipmunks, right? And this is like a lot more budget-wise. So
Yeah.
110 million back then must have been loads. And if you do the rule of double the budget for promotion and stuff, then this barely made anything. But then I guess you don't know how much they spent on like promotional stuff. And they made a second one, so it must have performed okay for them to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it made 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, and only 35 Metacritics liked it. But look, I'm Nicolas Cage, and I really need to pay back all my debts, so I need another terrible movie to get paid for.
To pay off his island.
Yeah. So, what have you got for me? Pitch
All right.
this now.
All right. I'm going to try and do it like the old Western, like... A skeleton candle drives around and looks at people to death before definitely hooking up with that sexy old cowboy man. The movie, yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, there is a lot of sexual tension in this film.
So much.
Not between Nicolas Cage and the love interest.
Yeah. Not between...
Literally between Nicolas Cage and like any other male character.
Yeah.
It's great.
Should we just get into the...
Yeah. This could be some juice.
Because
Scabbity beep bap.
Scabbity beep bap, dumb shit.
Shit, yeah.
The first note that I have is Sam Elliott's like narrating the first... Like, he's basically explaining what a Ghost Rider is.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's legends, and the thing about legends is sometimes they're true. And I was like, but sometimes they're not true then?
Yeah.
So this one isn't true. Anyway.
This one is just like every other legend you've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Anyway, good night. Have a good evening. Thank you for your money. Thank you kindly.
I'll take your money. I'll ride off into the sunset.
I gotta say, it's weird seeing a Marvel logo at the beginning that isn't like current day.
Yeah, it is.
Big hype up, like dum, 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 whatever. It's
this was more like
the old comic Marvel logo.
Yeah. This was
flickery comic thing.
This was this Columbia? Who did this?
Yes.
Yeah, Columbia.
Yeah.
So, who owns Columbia? Is that
I do.
Sony? Yeah, Sony owned Columbia. So do you reckon this is like that? So they made, was it Spider-Man at the same time as this? Spider-Man 3, 2007.
Yeah, around
Possibly.
that time. I think so.
Do you reckon they were like, we'll make our own franchise, and it's gonna have Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and it's gonna have Nick Cage, Ghost Rider.
They're just building up to Spider-Man selling his soul to someone and becoming Ghost Spider Rider Man. Ghost Spider Rider Man.
Ghost Spider. But the question is he like Spider-Man but his head's on fire, or does he transform into a ghost spider, like a spooky spider?
But it's still on fire.
Yeah.
The fire's the important thing.
Ah!
It just goes around screaming.
He tries to shoot a web, but it instantly disintegrates because it's just on fire.
It's like does like a trick. Like he shoots the web and it does like a vroom, and just like the flame travels along it and just eats it all up.
And then he just gets punched by the Green Goblin because he's like, that was pathetic.
No, his one thing that he has is that he's a ghost, so it just punches.
Yeah. He's like, for what I lack in webs, I make up with ghost. I
being a ghost.
Yeah. Anyway, look.
All right. Yeah.
So,
Ghost Rider Spider-Man.
Ghost Rider
No,
Spider-Man.
Ghost Spider Rider-Man. Sorry.
Ghost Spider Rider.
He's riding a ghost spider. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like, keep going. So anyway, he's like, so it starts off, he's got a dad, his dad's got cancer, then the devil just appears out of nowhere for literally no reason.
Yeah,
it's like,
for no,
this guy...
Because the two of them are, they're like Daredevil motorcycle kind of jumpers, right? That, you know, they do all the tricks.
Yeah.
He's out doing tricks with his dad, and he's showing off to the girl in the crowd that he likes. I thought it was just like a random. I thought he was just showing off to fans, but it is actually the girl that he likes and who knows him, who's aware of his existence. And but he's like doing a wheelie with the bike as he's driving along, and then the bike like hits like a small pebble, and he wobbles like, oh, and he's fine. And then the dad looks at him like, "You are a disappointment."
Yeah, I was like, he literally wobbled slightly and was like,
look. After doing this death-defying trick.
yeah. And then does a wheelie, wobbles a bit, and it's like,
"You're too reckless, son.
Yeah.
Gonna get yourself killed one day, boy. Anyway, drink this gasoline."
Yeah.
Drink this gasoline. I'm driving off a cliff into a lake of fire. Stop doing wheelies, boy. I'm sick of it. A real man keeps both wheels on the ground till you're in the air. Anyway, I'm gonna drink this nitroglycerin. And I also have cancer.
yeah, I also have cancer.
I think it's all the gasoline. He's just drinking straight gasoline. And he's like,
I don't know where I'm getting all this cancer.
He drinks some, and then he like coughs up some blood. It's like
he like spits into like a spitting, and it sets on fire because it's just like his blood is like half gasoline.
Yeah, it's like pure methylated spirits.
And he's like, "Don't do any wheelies, son."
But that's where it comes from. Ghost Rider was never supposed to set on fire. It's just like a skeleton
It's just the
guy,
gasoline.
but it's just the amount of gasoline in his system that when he goes into a skeleton, it just sets on fire. Oh man, we figured it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so he like makes a deal with the devil because all right. Anyway, why does he pick Johnny Blaze? Like Nick Cage?
Okay, no, I have many questions about this whole initial deal. Like, I mean, before we even see the devil, it's established that Johnny likes this girl.
Yeah.
She's like, I think does his dad like tell him to, like, oh, you're not good enough for her or something? I don't remember. But then he goes to see her, and they're hanging out at this tree, and then she's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm gonna dip. I'm leaving." And he was like, "Oh, why?" And she said, "Because she's gonna live with her dad or something, or a mum, which one of the two." Oh no, he's gonna live with the mum, and she's like, "And my daddy doesn't think that you're good enough for me," or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and he's like, "Okay, well, let's just like run away then." And she's like, "Okay, sure, yeah, that sounds good." Like, we'll do that instead.
Yeah, sweet. We have no prospects, no money.
Yeah.
You've got a motorbike, and that's the plan.
And a tank full of gasoline.
Yeah, which you've
and I'm
drunk
not talking
half
about. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the bike. I'm talking about his own tank, his own stomach. But no, his liver is just shot. But anyway, so you got this whole thing, but what his dad says to him is he's like, because again, he's warning him about how reckless he is. And he's like, oh, you think she's going to stand by you when you're in a wheelchair? And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
like if they're in love and they're going to spend the rest of their lives together, and he's in a horrible accident that leaves him paralyzed, then it'll be testing. But yeah, she might stay with him.
Kind of a dick move if she was like a wheelchair. Ugh.
I'm out.
I'm out. See you later.
Now she is more Shrek than anyone I've seen.
Yeah. She's more Shrek than Shrek himself.
Yeah. So,
he's drinking gasoline.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, they want some gasoline. She's like, no, I'll just have the whiskey.
Right. Okay. This is canon now. So she's
Scottish. She's Shrek.
She's mega Scottish. I just realized in my notes as well. I put the quote where it's like, "Thinks she's going to stand by you when you're in a wheelchair," and I was like, yeah, maybe. Like if they're in love and it's gonna, they actually will be long term and blah blah and whatever. And then the next note was, oh wait, no, she's leaving. Lol. Because I was like, oh no, she's leaving. Never mind.
She's like, bye.
Yeah, but then because she says she's leaving, he says let's run away together. She's like, cool. And then he goes back home, and then his dad's like asleep, he's like fallen asleep looking at pictures of
it's like old.
Of the two of them. Yeah, it's like him and his boy and all this kind of stuff because they're a father-son act. Yeah. And there's just, he finds this, he's like putting stuff away, and he finds this document in the bin that is literally, it's a piece of paper that is just like, this is a medical document. There is a cancer. Chest is bad.
Cancer has spread.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Just, like, hello, this is your doctor speaking. Medically speaking, your chest is bad.
Stop drinking gasoline, please.
Drinking gasoline.
For God's
Keep
sake.
drinking it, actually. You might kill out the cancer, along with everything else.
Yeah.
So, like, he's doing all this, and then he's kind of... I don't know if he does anything from there. Like,
he's just working on a bike, and then the devil just appears. He's like, oh, he's not even the devil. Or maybe he is? Like, he's just called, what was it? Maleficent, or whatever you said earlier.
Maleficent.
It's Maleficent comes out. She's like, sign this contract. You can be a ghost spider rider.
It's the Maleficent film is the follow-up.
Yeah. Because they're coming back for her.
But no, it's Mephistopheles.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, is he the devil?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. He's like just the devil's kind of bitch. I don't know. I'm not sure. All I know is when he appears, the first thing that he says is like, he's just stood there in the doorway, and then Johnny looks up and he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Or whatever. He's just stood there, and he's like, "Just wanted to tell you how much I enjoy watching you ride." And I was like, "Oh," and he goes, "Perhaps you'll ride for me one day." I was like, nice. And immediately I was like, "Oh, there's gonna be a lot of undertones in this film."
And unlike he's signing this deal, and the devil's like, "I'll make your daddy's kids go away."
Yeah, which, by the way, just if you're this random dude walks into your shed, and it's like, considering that you're probably, you're like semi-famous.
Yeah.
So some random ass guy walks into your shed, and he's like, "I love watching you ride," and all this kind of stuff. You're like, "Okay, can you leave before I call the police or shoot you, because this is my property and we're in America." Yeah. So, Johnny just kind of carries on with his bike, and he's like, "What if I could help you?" and blah blah blah. You'd just be like, "Who the fuck are you? Get away from me, weird stranger!" Especially when he's like, "For a price," and he looks at him and he's like, "What price?" And he's like, "Your soul." You'd be like,
"No."
All right, okay. Do you know what? I shouldn't have entertained this as long as I did. Before either you murder me or I have to shoot you, you better leave.
Yeah. I've drank way too much gasoline for this.
Yeah, yeah. I will belch fire.
But then he's like, he signs a contract, and he just sounds like the devil. This is. He's like sounding like a possessive girlfriend, because he's like,
Forget about your friends, or your family, or your loved ones. You're mine, Johnny Blaze.
it's just like,
This is what I'm talking about, man.
I
This
love
is
you,
serious
Johnny Blaze.
undertones. There's
You're
this
mine.
like sub like homoerotic subplot underneath, underneath all of this.
and then like he's like, oh shit, I better. Oh, because it's like the next day, and
What? Before we even hang on, with this contract, he doesn't actually sign it. Right?
it's just
What
his blood.
happens? What happens is that he opens up the contract to show it to Johnny. Johnny takes it and he's looking at it. I think it's supposed to be like a paper cut or something. I thought it was like something sharp on the scroll that like stabbed him. But he goes like, because he accidentally cuts his thumb on it, and it drops a drop of blood onto the signature line, and then Mephistopheles grabs it off of him and he's like, oh yeah, that's good enough. And I'm like, what? Okay, there was clearly no permission or consent.
Yeah.
Obviously. And if that's the case, why did he need to make the deal for his soul if he's just gonna then if it's just like not a legitimate thing? Why not just take the soul? Just be like, oh, by the way, I'm like an evil demon thing, and I'm gonna make you do my bidding.
And then he's like, no. And then he's like, well, got your soul. He's
Yeah,
like, how'd you get it?
he's
I
ju-
just got it.
It's like, how'd you get it? And then he just grabs his face, like punches him, and then just uses some of his blood and puts it on the thing, and he's like, there, signed.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
That doesn't make anything signed.
Now you're mine, Johnny Blaze.
Maybe it's like the view from his eyes, like Johnny Blaze's eyes, because to him he's like, oh, he stole my blood and it dropped on the thing and he made me sign it, but he's so fucked off of gasoline that he's like, in real life he's like, hey, you the devil? Yes,
This random
I
ass
am.
dude.
yeah, it's all in his head. He's just like in the streets of wherever the fuck they are later.
Yeah.
And he's just going like, he doesn't even have a motorbike. He's just going like, rum, 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 rum. I gotta fight the devil. Okay.
And he gets this knife out and he goes up to some guy and he's like,
You want me to sign your contract?
he's like, cuts his hand. He's like, get the fuck away from me. It's like,
Take my soul.
Take my soul, just wiping his blood on him.
oh.
But yeah,
But anyway.
then his fucking, he like, I guess the point is that he's like the devil, right? So he's all tricky. Like you make a deal with the devil, and he like because he cures his cancer, and then his dad like sort of he just dies because
So, yeah, I don't, because you see his dad the next day and he's like, because he's like, coughing and stuff
Yeah,
before, which by the way, if you're going to drink a lot of gasoline, you should not also smoke. But he's like coughing and everything. And then the next day when you see him, he's like fit as a fiddle. And he's like, I feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And he's like, woo. And then he goes to jump through a ring of fire. And then the devil's like then standing to one side and like grinning and staring at him. And then the ring breaks or something, and he's just lying there, and it's like, oh, he dead.
But the gap that he jumped was not big at all. All he was doing is jumping through a ring of fire.
Yeah.
And, like, you see him sort of, like, slowly fall off the bike. Like, not even, like, spectacularly, like, flip off the side. He's sort of just, like, collapses to the ground. And then the ring's, like, broken in half. This and like twisting and stuff. It was like this steel ring, which he didn't hit because we didn't see him hit. We saw him go through the middle, just falling off the bike at the same time. And then it's just in half, and then he's lying there, like sort of burnt, but with no visible like injury or anything. And then he just dies. I was like, did he have a heart attack or something? Like why?
Yeah.
Why is the ring all broken? And then young Nick Cage is like, I thought you said you'd cure his cancer. And he's like, I did, but I didn't say anything about him dying
not just like killing him.
Yeah.
I think it was probably just like he healed he took away the cancer because he knew that the gasoline would just get him.
He's like, seriously? He's gonna jump through that ring of fire?
Yeah, if I heal him up and take away all his tolerances, this inhumane situation he has where he could just drink gasoline, it's just gonna kill him straight away because his system's just gonna shut down. There's no nutrients, it just dies.
Like, hey, let's celebrate with some gasoline. And he just drinks some and instantly dies. That's why he just sort of collapses on the bike. He's like, better take my lucky swig of gasoline for good luck. And then it just slowly shuts down as he's going on the ramp. But then it like cuts, I don't know, like 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird that they use an actor who is clearly in his like 20s, like late 20s or something.
Yeah.
And then they do a little time jump and it's Nicolas Cage, and it's like clearly, because at that point you're pretty already like developed, so you're not going to look completely different. You know when they do like a young kid and it's like, obviously it's not the same person, but you're like, oh, this kid grew up to be Nicolas Cage. But this guy is like already an adult, so it's like this adult grew up to be a different adult.
It's the gasoline. It changes your your body features.
Or it's just like post Face Off, and he's actually just
it's all like warped.
Yeah.
But we get introduced to him, and he's like just jumping like 20 trucks. It's like massive amounts like that he's jumping, and the ramp that he's using is tiny. It's so small. I was like, there's no way he's jumping that. There's no way he's making that. But then, like, he does this jump. He somehow sort of makes it, but then crashes. And you're like, oh my god, he's dead already. But then he wakes up. And the first line he says is just fucking fantastic. That, like, set the tone for the rest of the film. Because he's, like, in his weird Nicolas Cage, but also Southern American voice. He's like, hey, here's the bike, okay? What the fuck is that?
And the fact that like the guys that surround him as well, you've got Donald Logue. Logue, maybe is that you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
Which I know he's been in loads of other things, but I just see him as Harvey Bullock from
Harvey Bullock from Gotham.
Yeah, so Harvey Bullock just like slaps his face a bit to wake him up. Like if he had like if he was in a fragile state after a motorcycle crash and he's got like a fractured neck or something, like fractured back and stuff, and he's just slapping his face about like, hey, you woke up? It's like, there's the back, okay.
There's the back, okay.
And then he gets up and he's like, yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, and he does the weird pointy thing where he like stares intensely down the length of his arm as he points out at people with a kind of like with a hand that's kind of like slightly curled, like
and he's wearing these big Elvis sunglasses as well, so he's like,
because they put them on his face while he's lying there.
He's like, here, got my sunglasses. And then they put him on, and he's like, hey, hey. Like pointing to the crowd.
Yeah. And a blaze.
Anyone want to get some gasoline? But then, like, fucking, there's so many questions. So they go into, it's like after the show, right? And they're going to the next event. I assume, like, they're touring around America or something.
Yeah.
Famous. And he's like, they're in like an RV.
Because he has like a big, it's going to be like a new big thing, right? It's going to be like this huge big thing lined up. I think he's touring around and he's doing like crazier and crazier stunts.
Yeah.
And there's this idea that he's going to jump the length of a football field over like a number of cars and stuff.
Yeah. And he's like, the Harvey Bullock's like, please just take out the cars. Like, the football field is enough. that's already ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I gotta have the cars. They're full of gasoline.
Yeah.
No, the cars are my snacks. I need the gasoline.
Couldn't you just have tanks of gasoline? No, it's gotta be from a car.
He gets like a rubber tube and puts it in, and then just
he's like siphoning it out.
Yeah, it just siphons it out into a mug.
But then, like, they're in this RV, like, going to the next one. Harvey Bullock's like, please don't fucking die. Like, you're being really reckless. And he's like, I don't care anymore. And then they're flicking through the channels.
Mm.
And, they come to, like, I don't know if it's a news channel or if it's, like, a motorbike.
It's like maybe a sports and news.
Yeah,
kind
like
of thing.
X Games or something. And they're like, everyone loves Johnny Blaze. Johnny Blaze is the best. And then he's like trying to have a conversation with him about like, you know, you're on a dangerous path. Like there's something clearly wrong. Like stop, don't kill yourself because you're trying to prove something to yourself or whatever. But the whole time, Nick Cage just wants to put on the channel that was on before, which was just like a monkey documentary. And he just keeps going like, put on the monkey show. I wanna see the spider monkeys. Put on the monkey show. Come on. I wanna see the monkeys. This is like a weird. I was like, is this like a thing that he loves?
It's just
monkeys?
Nicolas Cage. Like that was just him while they were recording.
Yeah.
He was like, no, put on a monkey show.
But they're like, yeah, in the scene they're like, no, we're meant to be having a heart to heart here. He's like, put on the monkeys. Are you sure you're gonna jump those cars? Put on the monkeys. I want to see the spider monkey.
While he's got, by the way, a like a martini glass full of jellies, like jelly sweets, like jelly babies or something. Not jelly beans.
Jelly beans. Red and specifically red and yellow jelly beans.
Red and yellow, yeah. Maybe it's just to show how much of like a kind of, you know, it's that rock star status where he's like, I'll only have the red and yellow jelly beans. And
I don't know.
But like he just, for no reason, he says he doesn't drink.
Yeah.
Which may be okay, I don't know. I mean, he just drinks gasoline, I guess. But like, he says he doesn't drink. And he just gets like these martini glasses full of jelly beans and like swirls them and then just eat, like he like swirls it, puts it to his mouth, and he's like, just eats them.
It's so weird. And like it's
never explained.
Yeah,
explored.
But because I was like, is he meant to be like he's a kid? Because they go back to his apartment or something, and then again Donald Logue is like trying to have a serious conversation with him, and then he's just like not listening. He puts on this like this clip of a chimp doing karate, and he's just like, this is fun. And the guy's like,
he laughs 0.3 seconds into turning on the TV.
Yeah,
that's how easily entertained he is. He presses it and he sits down and goes
and I was like, is he meant to be like is he meant to have like regressed into a child, like due to the trauma of his dad dying?
It's all brain damage.
Yeah, from the gasoline. Just fucking
and
drinking
jumps.
jelly beans. I was like, what the fuck is... Why? And literally, it's never... I don't think it even... Does he drink jelly beans again after that point? I don't remember
it's the 2 times in the beginning. He doesn't have time later on. You know, no time for jelly beans.
Yeah.
There's a bit where... Because when they're on the RV and they're like driving and then they see about the jump that Johnny's going to do and everyone gives him this look like, you're a crazy man. And then they all kind of get back to what they're doing. And then Harvey Bullock is like, you should have died in that most recent thing. And he's like, there's an angel looking out for you. And then he's like, this dramatic thing where he looks out the window and he's like, maybe it's something else.
But he says it so weird as well. He's like, or maybe something else.
I gotta dance now. But yeah, I mean, I've got a quote. I don't know which bit this is. This is because I think at this point we cut to, because we've been given the whole spiel at the beginning where it's like oh, there were these Ghost Rider people, and they sold their soul to Mephistopheles, and they did little contracts for him and stuff. But there was a contract that was too powerful. It was a big contract with like 1,000 souls, and the rider that did that was like, no, I don't think I'm going to do it. And it says that he outran Death himself, and he just rode off into the sunset. And Death never got that contract. And then we see this like random ass dude kind of spawn somewhere, and he's kind of like, I am evil. Like, I don't know. He just turns up, and you're like, okay, this is the evil guy. But he goes to like a club or something. I don't remember what it is. There's like a bouncer outside, and he goes, I think you might be lost, boy. And I don't know whether it's a reference to Lost Boys, because he looks like a vampire type dude. And he's like dressed like them. He's got the kind of, the style and the edge, the kind of edginess and whatever.
I feel
like it's a
you're
Lost Boys
giving
reference.
This film too much credit.
I just, because there's very much that style. Like, I could well imagine that the writers were like, they were heavily inspired by Lost Boys, and they were like, I'm going to put a reference in. Yeah, say, you might be lost, boy. And then they look at each other, and he's like...
And they wink.
Yeah, they wink, and then they start making out.
Yeah.
And then he gains entry.
Yeah.
To the club. Oh, well.
Both.
But yeah, and then you've got the stuff in the apartment. It cuts back to Johnny Blaze and the guy talking, and Johnny turning on the TV and immediately laughing. Like, he just laughs at like the way the screen turns on. That was like, that's how easily amused he is. Oh no, it was a bar, I think, or a restaurant or something like that.
It was an old
that the guy was going into
bar,
because then he kills everyone inside by, it's kind of like a draining kind of thing, which made me definitely feel like a vampire kind of vibes, because they seem to just kind of all hollow out and go all grey and stuff, and it's like he's almost sucked the life out of them. I think he takes their like soul, maybe, and that's what it is.
Yeah, it's so like weird.
It's just like, oh, these guys die in a weird way.
Yeah, because then you're introduced. There's like 4 of them. Yeah, there's 4
in
of
total.
them.
Yeah,
4 bad demon people, not including the devil
Mephistopheles,
metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And he's like, later on, he's talking to what's his name, the caretaker or something, the old Ghost Rider. Spoilers.
Caretaker,
yeah. But then and the guy's like, yeah, they were cursed to be the elements of the earth. And I was like, yeah, cool. One of them's like clearly earth. One of them's clearly water. One of them,
which, by the way, always, if it's like this guy is a water element or water powers or water cursed or something, it means that they look like a fucking gross drowned rat.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the most edgy dude with like everything's just dripping and slimy and moist, and he's just like
his eye like drips off him at one point.
I liked that effect. I liked that bit, and I like that effect when he appears. Like, it does the. You've seen it so many times, this weird water effect that turns into a person. But then his eye starts sliding off his face, and he just flicks it away, and then another one like appears. But I like that bit because it just seemed weird. But then they're all just like edgy kind of.
Yeah, but you've got him. You've got the water one. You've got the earth one. There's like a wind one, which we'll get to. Yeah. But then it's like. So the other element is fire. I guess Ghost Rider is fire? So then who's this other guy? His element is
I don't think
suction?
Well, because they said something about he's the plunger. The plunger one. Because I think what they said was like it's easy to hide in the elements or something. Like, it's just some vague like.
Yeah, literally,
it's some bullshit.
Some bullshit, yeah.
How can fire be every element? Basically. But yeah, so I mean, Johnny goes to this other show that he's set up, and he's walking through. He's had a little pep talk to himself because he does this thing where he's like, "You can't live in fear. You can't live in fear. You can't live in fear," or something like that. And he's like, jerking himself off. That is in, like,
Yeah,
metaphorically, because he's bigging himself up, but he's also he's also just masturbating. And but then Bullock comes in and he's like, "All right, we got to go." They're walking through the crowd, and then somebody's like, "Tell us this and tell us this." It's like paparazzi, like trying to get questions. And Bullock is like, "Huh, you must not know Johnny Blaze. He doesn't do interviews." And then, just as they're walking past one of the like entranceways into the stadium, it's like, how about for an old friend? And then fucking, I've got a name on here, Roxanne, the girl from before, is stood there. What? She was just stood there waiting that whole time. Like, she just knew that he'd be walking past, so she was stood there to like say some one-liner, and then he was like, "Oh, he doesn't do interviews," and she was like, "Oh, this is it." She's like, "How about for an old friend?" He just turned around and be like, "What? Have you been stood there this whole time? Why don't you knock on my dressing room door?" Because he left her in the rain when they were like 17, whatever, way back then. After he talked to the devil, signed his soul away, whatever. And they were supposed to meet at the tree the next day to just go and start their life together. And she was stood at this tree in the pouring rain. He drove his motorbike up towards like to the bottom of the hill, and they looked at each other, and he drove off.
He's just like, "Nope, bye."
Yeah, like,
and
she just left in the rain.
And there's no in
the middle of nowhere.
Because it's explained. He's like, later, he's like, "I'm sorry, I left you because the devil told me not to." But it's like, no, he didn't. He was like, "Oh, you're mine, Johnny Storm. I mean, Johnny Blaze."
Johnny Storm.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "You're mine. You forget about bloody love, mate." But at this point, like, he's not turned into the Ghost Rider or anything yet.
Yeah, because he says, "I'll come back for you one day," or whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, well, just go off with
let
her.
Let the man be.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like at least give it a go. He just like sort of assumes that he can't have love, even though it's never defined. Because the devil man is like, "Oh yeah, forget about love." And he's like, "Okay, I'll forget about it.
Don't worry about that. I just ride off."
Yeah. But yeah, he's like pursuing her. He's like, "Come over for dinner with me." She's like, "No, because you left me in the fucking rain."
And also at this point, he's not only just done the trick that she didn't want to watch him do because she doesn't like the fact that it's so death-defying. He's also chased after her van as they're driving, because she's like a journalist.
Yeah.
Chased after her van as they're driving away after trying and failing to interview him, and like brakes in front of the van, almost causing a crash. Just to kind of talk to her, which, by the way, they might have like braked in time, because it did the thing where he slams on the brakes and then just before he hits Johnny, it manages to stop. But aren't they on like a motorway? So it's going to cause like a massive pile up of all the cars that weren't expecting him to suddenly brake. Like, he stops in front of Johnny, and Johnny's like, "I knew you'd do that," and then just fucking another one hits the back of the car, and it rams into him, and then another one, all of them going at like 70 miles an hour.
It's like,
it's a massive pile up.
Oh, stupid.
Blood and fire everywhere. People are screaming, and he's like, "You want to go on a date with me?"
Well, he doesn't even do it. She's like, "No," and then he just fucking kisses her. She's like, "No, I don't want to go out on a date with you, actually. You're a piece of shit." And then he's like, "I think that means you want a kiss." And he just like pulls her in. Like,
and it's one of those movie kisses where they're just like mushing face.
Yeah. And then it fucking works as well. Because she's like, "Yeah, cool, pick me up at 8.
Yeah.
Like, meet me there at 8.
The funny thing is, there's a cow that moves when they're like in this scene.
Yeah.
And I was like, I put that Johnny hits her with that kiss, and the cow was my reaction. Just like, no.
And it's so dumb as well, because like, so he doesn't turn up, and like, because we later find out at the same time he's turning into Ghost Spider Rider.
Yeah,
And-
Ghost Spider Rider Man, yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because he was going to be late to that date anyway. Before he was even looking at his hands and they're burning up and he's turning into whatever. He's just stood looking at himself in the mirror, just like...
Yeah, he's jacking off again.
Yeah, you can't live in fear and all this kind of stuff. He was just... She was already waiting there. What is he doing?
And also, while she's waiting there, she's like... She gets out a magic 8-ball. Did you see that? She's waiting at the table. She pulls out a magic 8-ball, shakes it, and then goes like, as if it says like, yeah, he's not coming, mate. I was like, what? Why? Why would anyone... Is that a reference to
Shakes
something?
it, and then it says like, probably a gasoline overdose.
Yeah. It's like, he's dead. It's like, oh, typical Johnny Blaze with his fucking gasoline. I was like, what? Why? That's such an odd thing to include.
Yeah.
That you just whip out a magic 8-ball that you happen to have on you and be like, is he gonna turn up? Love me not.
Yeah.
I was just like, fuck it up.
You look at it and it says yes, and then he walks in. She's like, it works. She puts it away. She knows that it works. She
He's like,
saves
what's
it for
work?
important occasions.
Yeah, what works? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we flick back to, as I name them, the edgy elemental boys. As they kind of confront Mephistopheles, and you have this little talk between them. I think just about like the scroll of 1,000 powerful souls, whatever. And the main vampire-y guy, whatever his name is, he says something, and then at the end he's like, "Father," and you're like, "Oh, it's a twist! It's his father."
And you're like, who? What? I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Because Mephistopheles then, he then goes to Johnny, and he's like, "I need you now, boy," and turns him into Ghost Rider, freaks him out, and I mean, Johnny's kind of going nuts. You have a big, long, screamy transformation scene where
which is amazing. You should if you haven't seen Ghost Rider, you should just look that bit up on YouTube because it's like Nicolas Cage on point. Being Nicolas Cage because he's screaming but also laughing. He's like, ah! So yeah, that bit was great. But then at that, like, he fucking, so he's Ghost Rider. He like runs into, or he like beats up a mugger or something. Some shit like that.
So the first time, yeah. It's like he has this thing called the Penance Stare, which we learn about later.
Yeah.
We're told it's like his most powerful weapon, where he just like stares into the eyes of someone, and then he's like,
"Well, I can see all the shit you've done. You're a bad
bloke, I can see all the bad things that you've done in your life, and I'm going to turn them back on you.
Yeah,
and you're going to have weird, burnt out, kind of burnt shelled eyes.
Yeah,
and lie there and think about what you've done." In then, maybe hell? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
They're just chilling. But then, like, so, I like, he goes off into the night, he's fighting some villains and shit. And then he, like, whistles for his bike, which, like, because the comics, like, Ghost Rider original is, like, it's like the original, like, Sam Elliott guy. Like, because he rides a horse, and all that. So that makes sense. But he just fucking whistles for his bike. And then it comes through the streets. And he's just like, yeah, I'm here. I was like, is that bike sentient?
His bike got ghost rided. That's how it works. He touches things and he ghost rides them. Because he does that with it.
He goes Spider Riders it.
Yeah, he goes Spider Riders mans it. Like that's what he puts his hands on his bike or whatever, and then the bike goes all metal as fuck all cool and shit. I think that might be a bit later, I'm not sure, but the devil basically, I mean, Mephistopheles, again, there's weird sexual tension with Mephistopheles. He's like chatting to him and being like, "You're gonna work for me now," and whatever. And then sets Johnny on his way on the bike. And Johnny, by the way, basically levels the city with this bike. Like, as he's driving along, everything like explodes and shatters around him.
Like,
and they had a missed opportunity. They had a police officer just sat there with a speed gun, and then I think as he goes past, he like hits him or something, and he goes flying. But they should have had a shot where the speed gun fell on the ground and it rolled like at an angle so that where it came to a stop was like in front of the camera, and then on the speed gun it should have said 666.
Oh yeah, but they were like,
but they didn't.
Nah. But yeah, is that when he like runs into the trio of elements and he fights the rock one?
Yeah, I think so, because he basically, when Mephistopheles turns him into a thing, he doesn't really, it's like he's on autopilot, he doesn't really have control.
Yeah.
He gets drawn to like evil or something. So he sends them off and he goes and fights them.
And then that's where he gets his chain whip and stuff. Because I was like, oh shit, it's like the first of the 3 bosses or something, and they're all like punching him, whatever. And then he just like whips the rock guy, and the rock guy's like, oh no, fire, my one weakness as a rock man, and then just disintegrates instantly.
Yeah, he just kills them straight away.
Yeah.
Like all of those enemies in this film.
Yeah.
They just die like straight away.
Yeah, literally.
They stand there, they're like, ooh, they're like punch him or something, and then they'll stand there as he like figures out how to kill them and then does.
The wind one is like the best one, because I know I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but like he's like trying to whip him and stuff, and the guy's like
can't whip the wind.
yeah. He's like, I guess you're a slow learner. You cannot catch the wind.
Yeah.
And then he beats him. He's like, I guess I can't. And then he just makes a fan and just blows him away. The guy's
just
like, he's like, oh no, my one weakness, a desk fan.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Also, I made the note, he's fighting earth, wind, and water instead of earth, wind, and fire.
And then, I was like, I made the note that he's fighting, I know it said it at the start, but he's fighting the villain from The Happening, which is just the wind.
The wind, yeah.
What was it that Marky Mark says? He goes,
his toxin?
Yeah.
His Ghost Rider?
His Ghost Rider? But yeah, anyway, he so he fights the blokes,
and that's that's kind of when he gets his chains, because he's like, oh, these are pretty good for killing.
Yeah, he gets his chains.
Yeah,
he fucks
his
him
flamey
up
chains. Gotta say, Kratos from God of War did it better.
Yeah, 100%. But like, so he goes back to the apartment, and because it's like the next day
all this time, by the way, while he's fighting these, the woman, the love interest lady, Roxanne, she's still sitting there waiting for him to arrive, and then the waiter comes over, and he goes to pour her some wine, and then she's like tipping his hand so that he pours more. She kind of gives him this look as if to say, don't stop.
Yeah.
And so he gives her like a full glass, and she's like nursing it, cradling it. And we kind of go back and forth between them and then all the fighting and stuff. And she's still sat in there. The waiter goes past, and she's like, gets his attention. She's like, you think I'm pretty, right? And the waiter just pauses, looks at her and goes, like he just shrugs. He just, like, with his face as well, it's like a proper kind of like not that bothered. And just walks on. I was like, poor man. Doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, like because it's then, right? He's like driving in the night, and then he slowly turns back to Nicolas Cage, and he just like happens to come across the caretaker, the old Ghost Rider, who's like, I've been there before.
Yeah, I don't know whether he like. I don't know, there's probably some bullshit of like, oh, when he was in Ghost Rider mode, he automatically drove there or something. But he just drives to this, I think it's the church, and like starts crawling while he returns to being normal and not on fire. Yeah,
and then they chat. As I said, like he basically just explains the whole plot of the film to Nicolas Cage. He's like, a ghost rider is a ghost, and he rides a spider, and the devil, you do the devil's work. But then one time there was this ghost rider, and he didn't like the devil, so he left. And that's basically like, and then he's like, you better not leave. And then Nicolas Cage is like, I'm gonna leave, bye.
Yeah.
After everything you told me, don't worry about it, I'm just going. And then, yeah, like, he goes back to his apartment, and then he bumps into Eva Mendes, whatever her name is.
Roxanne.
Yeah, Roxanne. And again, she's like, you're a piece of shit. You left, why you better have a good fucking excuse. You left me for dinner. Like, I hate you.
Like, you
and
didn't
then,
show up at all. You've not even contacted me since.
Yeah. And then he does it again. He just starts kissing her again. He's like, oh no, she starts kissing him.
She starts kissing him
because
this time,
she sees some old pictures of them when they were younger that he's still got, and she's like, you do care about me. And she just starts kissing him again. And I was like, why? He's an asshole. Like, he's literally such a piece of shit. And then he like, she's like, you better have a good fucking excuse for like why you're not, because he pulls away. He's like, I don't want to kiss you. And then she's like, you better have a good fucking excuse why you're being so weird. You didn't show up to dinner. And he's literally like, look, I would tell you, but you would never believe me in a million years. You'd just call me a liar. Like, you would, or maybe like you think I'm insane because like, this is ridiculous. I don't really want to tell you. And she's like pushing him. She's like, I've seen everything. I'm a reporter. There's nothing that you could tell me that I wouldn't believe. Like, I'm here for you. Please just tell me, like, tell me the truth. Come on, get it out. And then he's like, yeah, I'm the Ghost Rider. Yeah. And she's like, you fucking piece of shit. You lie. I told you not to lie to me. I was like, you pushed him. You didn't want to tell you. And the story is like so random and convoluted. And she's like, oh, you're just making that up. It's like, you really think he made that up on the spot? Like that detailed, really random, like, yeah, the devil came to me when I was a young boy, and then I made a deal with the devil, and then I became a ghost rider, and all the shit you see, like all the evidence you see outside, like with the street broken to shit, and the track leads back to his house, and he's like, yeah, I'm the Ghost Rider. She's like, fucking piece of shit liar. Fuck you. Hate you.
You could tell me anything, but not that.
Yeah, that was the one thing. But yeah, and then, like, he gets arrested for some reason. I think I might have missed that bit.
I don't know, the police find a number plate, and I don't know if it's meant to be his number plate, and that's literally the only connection they have, which makes no sense, and I don't understand it. But for some reason, they decide to surround him and take him in, and he's like, oh, don't shoot, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
And there's no, like, they're not playing coy. They're just like, we know you killed everybody. Tell us. Go on. Do it.
Yeah, and he's literally like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I don't know who you are referencing. And he's being cooperative and shit. And then, so he's in prison. That's where he gets his sweet-ass jacket as well. He's like, I like that jacket. Give it to me. Because he changes... he changes back into the Ghost Rider because he's surrounded by...
They put him in a cell full of like, people who are being held for, you know, crimes where they're like temporary holding and stuff. Like, considering they said, oh, the ghost and the vengeance stuff is all to do with being around evil, and you can smell it or whatever, you know.
It stinks. But yeah, like, he's in the holding cell, he changes, he's like, everyone in here is a piece of shit. And then he beats them up, steals a person's jacket. And the bit where he breaks out of prison is so great. That was my favourite bit. Because he cuts through the bars like it's butter, because he just, like, melts them. And I was like, nice, cool.
Yeah.
Like, smashes through the wall or something. Like, he goes outside, gets his bike, And there's a police officer there who, like, hits him or something. And, like, then Nicolas Cage or Ghost Rider, like, corrects his jaw. And then he goes, like, shaking his finger. And then just, like, speeds off into the night. And then he drives past a sign with, like a neon sign. And it, like bursts all the neon lights apart from 4 letters, which are RAGE, to spell out rage.
I didn't even notice that.
Just like, fuck's sake. that sequence of 30 seconds was just like, wow, that is real good. Well done. Very proud of you.
Damn it. Yeah. But, like, yeah, I don't know how the police thought he was killing those people with this impossible way that they all look like they were killed.
Yeah, because they're like husks of people. They're all, like, their life force has been drained from them. He's like, yeah, you did it, mate. I've seen you on TV. You must have done it. But yeah, and then, like, he's getting chased by the police, and then he comes across the wind guy, which we said about. But that bit's funny as well, because... He's like, he goes to a dead end or something, and then the guy, there's like, he like catches him in a dead end, and then Ghost Rider like drives up the side of the building. And they're like, officer, where has he gone? And he says it in the weirdest southern accent. He just goes like, up, the suspect is going up.
Yeah, I've got that in here as well.
I was like,
so it's like, what's the suspect's location? He's like, up.
Yeah, it's like hiccups.
Yeah. But I noted down that the jail scene is one of those. It's literally one of those clips. I think I literally did see it on there, which is why it made me think of it. But it's one of those clips where some bootleg Facebook account in your suggested comes up, say, with like this clip, and it will say like, amazing movie scene, must watch. This guy takes on something, and then it's just some like weird thing with that clip, and you're like, what is this? Why is this here? That clip is one of the ones you always see.
Yeah, literally.
You know, but I do like the way when he uses the chains. Like, I always like the way the chains. So like fluid and whippy, and like obviously they defy some physics, but it's just quite fun.
It's just stupid. So like, what even happens then? Like, is that when he goes back to the caretaker? He's like, "Hey, I need that contract."
So he's fought. Yeah, so he kills the wind guy by like just doing
making
some
a
fanny fire, not fanny fire, but like like fire with a fan, and then he sees, where is it that he sees the lady again, or is that because no, it's when he's investigating the fires. No, wait, because there's a bit where they're like arguing or something, right? And then the bad guys are like, now we know his weakness.
Oh yeah, yeah, we know he likes this girl, and then they nick her.
Yeah. So they steal her from his apartment, but they first kill Donald Logue. Is it Donald? Is that his name? Donald Logue? Which I was immensely upset about. They kill off the best friend by just like doing the sucky thing on him. He's barely in it, but he's great.
Yeah,
I love that. Just love that actor. He just plays the the best friend in various roles, but he's like, you just see him get all. And he dies. And I was like, no. And that's when he goes to the caretaker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the Lost Boys is like, yeah, you can't beat me because I don't have a soul, so you can't do that weird eye thing.
Yeah, they do have a little showdown. Yeah, because he's kind of like, I always thought he was a weird kind of frosty cold guy.
Yeah,
that was his power, but his power is just to kind of suck people's souls. So I don't really. Maybe it's kind of both. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he goes up against Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider like hulks out, and he goes all flamey. But he just grabs him and puts the flames out, and then he's like, you're a piece of shit. You can't do anything. Your penance stare doesn't work on me because I don't have a soul to burn, kind of thing.
Yeah. But then, so he goes to the caretaker and he's like, "Hey, they stole my girl. I need that contract." And then the caretaker's like, "Okay, here you go."
He just this hundreds of years.
Yeah,
it's been hidden. Which, by the way, it was hidden in the handle of the shovel.
Of his shovel.
Could you imagine he just has a friend who's helping him out, and she's like, "Oh, I threw that old shovel away. It's really grimy. It's not very good, is it? I got you this shiny new one." And he's like, "No, woman."
No. Or he's just shoveling. He's digging a grave, and then it breaks and it slides out, and he's like, "Fuck." And then he has to go to a department store. He's like, "Hey, have you got a shovel, but with a secret compartment inside?" They're like,
"Can you? I need a shovel, but it needs to be hollow."
Yeah. That's a terrible design. It's going to break. Yeah, but don't worry about it. It's for the contract. And they're like, "What? Get away from me, old man." Creepy.
He's like, "I'll be back very often for repairs and replacements.
I'll take 6.
Yeah. Does it come in red?
But then, so he's like, "Yeah, here, have the contract." And then he's like, "We've got to ride to the place that they said they would be, so let's go."
Oh,
and then...
Wait, but before he does... They have a speech thing when he gets in the contract, where he... And then Ghost Rider is like, "He may have my soul, but it doesn't have my spirit." And I was like, okay, because it's followed up with the older sexy cowboy man being like, "God is on your side because you sold your soul for love, and that makes you unpredictable and something and whatever." And I was like, he didn't consent though.
Yeah.
He did not sell his soul. His soul was stolen from him. Literally, it was the equivalent of a pickpocket, right? A con man pickpocketing his soul. That was what happened. There's no he made my soul, doesn't have my spirit. He's probably got that. There's no sold a soul out for love. It was nicked. He got duped. And then, of course, the older guy's like, "I got one last ride left in me." And I was like, "Yep."
Yeah, but I was just like, what? That was so stupid. Because I thought he was like, "I'm gonna, this is my purpose of, protecting this contract, so I'll go with you to finally defeat this evil." But he just, rides with him. They get there, and he's like, "Okay, you found it. All right, see you later. I'm going back home now." And then just rides up into the night.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Because he said that, he's like, "I've got one last ride in me," and he uses that to, just travel with him there, and he's like, they just chat. And then they get there, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go die now."
But I was like, wait, if that was it, what determines how long your ride is? Because I was like, you've ridden for 5 hours. If it lasts a night, surely you've got a few hours left. Stay and fight. If you're gonna die anyway, you might as well help him out a bit, But he's like, "Nope, goodbye."
And they, as they're going past as well, there's a little lizard on a rock, and because they're both super flamey, they go past, and it instantly flash fries the lizard, turns them into bones. Yeah. And I was so mad.
I was like,
that lizard did not deserve that. Yeah. He was just chilling, and he got absolutely barbecued.
Yeah, that was fucking savage. And then that's pretty much it. You just get the last fight, which I don't know. It was
he gets the scroll. The bad dude gets the scroll because he's got what's her face? He's got Roxanne. He fucking yeets her against a wall. She would definitely have died and broken all of her bones. But then he gets the scroll. He sucks in 1,000 souls or something, which I thought was going to be it's too many, too much power, and he explodes or something. But he sucks in all the souls, and they kind of fight each other a bit. for some dumb reason, Roxanne's character decides to stick around. She's like got massive cleavage this whole time as well. It's like such a kind of like stupid tropey kind of. She's there, and then suddenly she comes in with the shotgun. She's like,
yeah.
and shooting this dude like, yeah, and then he like somehow does not like melt her on the spot because she's way out of her league. There, you know, these supernatural beings. But then, which by the way, also if a gun can stagger him, then surely he's not that powerful. But sure. And there's a quote because he ends up being able to beat him by again just kind of quickly. Like he shoots him once with a fireball thing. He takes a while to reform himself, and then he stood there and he's like, "You can't kill me." So then he grabs him and he does the penance stare because he's like, "Well, you have 1,000 souls. Like, I can kill you with this." Which is kind of, I was like, okay, you know,
that makes
it makes sense. It's clever enough. Little kind of like, how does he beat him?
Yeah.
He uses it against him. But it's when he's like, "How does it feel to have all that evil inside you?" And I was like, man, they know what they're doing.
Oh, stupid.
They are totally aware of what they're doing.
Yeah. But then they're like...
And he kills he does like the penance stare and just like straight up kills the dude.
Yeah. It's like, he kills the bloke, everything's great, and then it's sort of like, just wraps up there where...
Yeah, because he's still got like the flamey skull and everything, and then Roxanne goes to like put her hand to his head, and he turns his head away and he goes, "Monster." And then she's like, "No, I love you." And she like puts her hand to his head, and the fire goes out as it gets closer to her, and turns into his face. But it would just be funny if she got like 3rd-degree burns because his head is on fire, and he's like, "I fucking told you, I'm the Ghost Rider, baby. I'm burning."
But it's stupid because it's like he can have coherent conversations throughout this film when he's the Ghost Rider. But just at that single moment, he's like so like he can't speak because of his love. So all he could say is "monster," like fucking Beauty and the Beast or something. It's like fuck's sake,
monster.
But yeah,
Monster is giving Dobby a sock.
Monster's giving Dobby a sock, and now he's fucking free. Dobby's on fucking fire!
Yeah.
Help, Dobby! Jesus
Master
fucking
set
Christ!
Dobby aflame.
Harry Potter set Dobby aflame! Harry Potter's fucking killed Dobby!
Oh, man.
Dobby is the Ghost Rider!
Ghost Dobby Rider.
Ghost
Dobby Rider!
It's just Dobby, but with a flamey head and like.
But he's on a normal sized motorbike, so he can barely reach it.
Instead of a chain, it's socks. He just hits people with socks, flamey socks.
Take this, you bastard!
Oh man.
Oh, funny. But yeah, that's kind of it. The last bit is just dumb because he's like. The devil's like, "Cool, you've done your thing, and now I'll give you your soul back." And he's like, "Nah, I like it."
Yeah, he's like, because I think he's basically saying to the demon that like, if the demon makes people go and do bad things, he's going to go and be a vengeful thing, spirit kind of thing.
I don't know. It's so dumb.
And it was just like. Whatever, I don't care at this point.
Yeah, literally. Should we just we'll do bad film good, but first, Shag, Marry, Kill, Nick Cage, Eva Mendes, or the bike,
or his bike.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't really want to kill any of them.
Oh, really? I'd kill Nick Cage because he'd be a terrible husband. Because he's just out
kill him
every
and
night.
He'd keep coming back as like the ghost of vengeance or whatever, and you have to keep killing him over and over again.
Oh yeah, shit. Didn't even think of that. I definitely fucked the bike because
it could that thing can transform into whatever you need it to.
Yeah, exactly. Like that thing, and that thing, like that thing fucks. You can tell when it turns into that like hardcore metal bike. I was like, oh hell yeah.
Oh no! You see how many tailpipes this has got?
Oh baby, give me that gasoline.
Yeah.
I'd fuck the bike. You make a good point. Maybe I'd marry Nick Cage because he's out in the evenings anyway, so I could definitely have an affair.
Oh, that's true. With the bike.
Yeah, with the bike.
You got to walk today to find crime. He like takes the tube.
He's got his arms folded, like head's on fire. He's like, honey, you're home early. What is this?
Yeah. I just straight kill Eva Mendes for her character just not being a character in this.
Yeah, shaking that.
It's weird. Like it's that whole thing of like she doesn't have a character. She's obsessed with this guy who, when she was 17, like had a thing with. He just up and left her, standing in the rain, didn't give a fuck. She didn't see him for like years and years until he's like famous, and then she interviews him. He's clearly just like, oh baby, hello, and then leaves her hanging. Like she's sat drinking her sorrows, making herself like a fool to everybody. Just sat there drinking bottles of wine. Rejects all of her advances after having jumped on her before, and then turns out to be an extra-dimensional flaming head ghost man. You know?
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not a monster.
Monster? Monster? Should we read some reviews for the film? Should we just
bad? Oh wait, no. Bad film.
Oh shit! Yeah, we didn't even do the whole
stick of the show. We should just rename the show "Fuck, Marry, Kill" in brackets in various bad films.
Yeah, bad film, good.
If I hadn't rewatched this, then the me from years ago, 2007 me, or whenever I watched this, would have been like bad film, great, Ghost Rider, cool.
Yeah.
For me, it's like Nick Cage brings it up a few points.
Yeah.
The most of the rest of the film brings it down a few points. So it's like bad film. I don't know if trashy is the right word. It's just that kind of trashy film that you don't really need to pay attention to. I say bad film trashy. We'll say
I go dad film.
Dad film.
Oh
my god.
Dad film.
We'll do this until we're much older, and then we'll rename it Dad Film Good as soon as we reach that point.
Yeah. But yeah, bad film average, because I was like, I like the story of Ghost Rider. Like, I've not read the comic, but I think I would like to, because I like the premise. I think it would be cool. It's kind of like Spawn, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It's like their Marvel's version of Spawn. But yeah, it was just not a good execution. But you're right, Nicolas Cage being in a thing just
amps
brings
it up.
It up.
And we'll do much more. It's like Adam Sandler. It's like whatever else. We'll do more Nick Cage. Don't you worry.
Yeah. But yeah, should we read some reviews for the film?
Yeah. I've got a quick interesting one. Both of these are from 2020, so I guess people were just reviewing anything during lockdown. You know. I don't know if there's anything really going on around that time that made people look at it, but there's one guy called Marcus T. I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes on the audience reviews, as Aiden usually looks at the IMDb's.
Yes.
But Marcus T. saying, "This movie is awesome. Just good for my money," with 5 out of 5 stars. Good for my money?
Good for my money.
Did he make the film? Is that
Yes.
like he got the 200,000?
He's the 200,000. Damn, this film was cheap.
200 million? Yeah, 220 large. 200 large.
20 large.
I'm gonna make you $20. Yeah, and then I've got Juan O. In April 2020, who gave it 1.5 out of 5 stars. That says, "This movie's just straight up stinks. It has the most lazy and generic script possible. Every single 2000s movie trope is here. It does nothing original. The villain character even looks like a Disney Channel vampire kid. It's so lame." Pretty accurate, I'd say.
Yeah.
A Disney Channel vampire kid? I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
Great.
Mine is from Giuseppe Los Paluti. And it's 10 out of 10, so it's a good film. Now, but before we do this, it is clear that English is not his first language. So we'll take it, we'll let him off with a few points. However, he says, "Ran good film. Excellent speruma feelings, contrary to what was said by Roberanti and Tizoranti." I don't know who those people are.
What?
"A name, a guarantee. In the film, I noticed many terrible elements, including the terrifying dictatorship of the Taliban and the fear of the inhabitants of Kabul. The film makes good idea."
Oh no, this is another tractor.
Of what he meant to live under the Taliban. The problem is that when you are not directors, is behind a monitor, you can write what you want, reaching even to write untruths. On the internet, everything happens often. Most of the films are rejected, not because the films are produced evil, but because there are few characters particularly receptive. It must be very interesting and apathetic to define this film minimalist and reductive. If you do not like the film, then you become directors, as there are attentive word by word to the book. I guess he means the comic. CMQ reports love and hatred in the film are well represented, and I believe this film excellent, saving the usual hot air of criticism misplaced. Veditello. They're based on what they are writing, the critical network
this is hurting
judged
me.
by your head. I read that and I was like, what?
Did I have a stroke or did you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we both did. I was like, the Taliban?
Hold on, I haven't drunk enough gasoline for this. I
was like, at first I was like, oh, has he just read? Has he reviewed?
He's like reviewing the wrong
film?
Yeah, it's another tractor thing.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, but he's saying how, like, in loose English, he's saying how people have reviewed it badly, but they can't read behind the lines or something. I don't know. That made absolutely no sense, and I was like, brilliant, perfect.
Yeah, and that's
good
why
film,
it's a good
10 out of 10. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, look, we've looked at some dumb shit, but do you want to look at some real life dumb
shit? Should we
skibbity
skibbity bap to some real life skibbity
dumb
shibbity dap? Yeah. I'm kind of tired at the end of this. You could tell I just like, yeah, fuck it.
Well, I'll make it quick. This isn't a long one, but it's just about my first ever science lesson in secondary school.
Oh, baby's first lesson.
Yeah, baby's first lesson, and it was like one of those a lesson where you did an experiment.
Oh yeah,
and it was a simple experiment. All it was you got a Bunsen burner and you got like a little cut of zinc, and you put it on the Bunsen burner, and it made a flash, and it was cool because we were like year 7, so it couldn't have been too like, you know, too complicated or whatever.
Yeah.
However, me and my friend who I was doing this with found some green powder on the side, clearly from the lesson before.
Oh no.
And being the stupid, what are you, like 12 when you're in year 7? Being like the stupid fucking 12-year-olds, we were like, I know, let's put the green powder on the zinc and put it in the Bunsen burner. And it fucking went bang. It was like
Oh my God.
the metal tongs that you were holding the zinc.
Yeah.
There was like a like singe mark, like so close to my hand. It was incredible. The flash was huge. There was like black singe marks around the Bunsen burner. It was incredible.
Oh my God.
And the teacher was like, that science teacher was like so aloof and disinterested in every lesson.
Clearly, they didn't like take precautions. Yeah.
So he's sort of like, he was sat at the front and he was like looking at us, and we like turned around in a panic, like, fuck. And he was like, nah. And it just carried on.
Oh my God.
We were like, holy shit.
You were
But
like,
yeah.
you went around the rest of the class like, guys, you got to put
It's got a bit
this
of
green
green
stuff
powder
on your zinc.
Yeah. I still don't know what that green powder was, but
Everything
Yeah.
starts exploding. Yeah.
yeah, that was a very dumb thing. So I don't recommend anyone does that. If you find green powder and
Definitely,
you have some zinc,
definitely take the time to buy a Bunsen burner.
yeah, do it.
Bit of gasoline.
Yeah, drink some gasoline. It's good for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about everything we've got. Next week we'll be doing G-Force, which you can watch on Amazon Prime.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah. But if you want to keep up to date with us, we're on Instagram and on Twitter at BadFilmGood. We do little posts, little clips of the show, so you can give those a listen, give those accounts a follow. If you want to get into contact with us, you can either email us at badfilmgood@gmail.com, or you could just send us a message on Twitter or on Instagram. We'll see it eventually. Yeah, to help support the show, you could give us a 5-star review on your chosen podcast platform. As someone brought it to my attention the other day that I don't think you can review on Spotify. So
right.
if you can't review it, the next best thing to do, or even better best thing to do is tell a friend.
Yeah. Even better, best, most bestest thing.
Yeah, tell a friend and just
You tell a
force them
friend
to listen.
No, you tell a friend and you tell them to leave the review. And so they'll spend all the time trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
And then it just gives us like more view time or something. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
It works. We'll get it. We'll get it.
Yeah. It just works. Just get your friend to do that.
But as always, we'll leave you with an inspirational quote from InspireBot that's a randomly generated image with an randomly generated quote slapped on top of it. Have you got one? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Take it away. I've got an interesting one.
So mine is just one of those. What are those rides? It's not like a Ferris wheel. It's like a big spinning thing with like swings on it. You know, at like a.
I know what you mean. It's like a big
swirly ride,
big spinner.
Yeah. So it's people on one of those. They're going round, and the text says, "You have to admire the upper class." Like, come on, you just gotta admire them. Like,
well done.
Well done
on being you.
Yeah,
and
well
privileged.
done. Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
well done on evading taxes and you know, not helping the less fortunate. Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Ah, yeah.
Hey, good skill. Well done.
I want to go on a big spin it ride.
Anyway, what's yours?
My one, it's a nice kind of countryside. You've got some countryside hills. You've got the sun kind of gleaming over the back of the mountain, leaving a nice kind of lens flare. You've got a couple people who are hiking and looking out across the hills in their coats and their backpacks, and it says, "You have the potential of becoming a sick hunk." Oh yes, a sick hunk.
Oh, yes.
It literally
That's
says, "Oh yes." It's like, okay.
Oh, well, there you go. Hope
Yeah.
you're inspired.
we'll leave you with that and a tank of gasoline. We'll raise a glass of gasoline.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, everyone, drink your gasoline and you become big and strong, and you could jump through
And you could jump
fiery hoops. You could jump. You could just jump up and down until you die.
until it like bit of friction just causes it to explode.
But yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Drink that gasoline.
The bear.
Bear impressions get worse.